Hey Carla.
What up, Chris? How
Um,
are you?
I don't know if you've felt this lately, but it feels like last week
Hmm.
was Big Bang, and it feels like next week is the leadership conference.
Oh my gosh, I know. There's a lot going
Um,
on.
there's a lot going on. Part of the reason we launched this show is so that we could like promo our own things.
Hmm.
So let's lean into that, right?
Let's
Um,
do it.
we do want to let folks know that our leadership conference is being held in San Diego in December from the 5th through the 7th. Registration is currently open at bplevents.org.
Yes.
Do you know anything about San Diego, Carla?
I might know a few things, being born and raised here, just a few.
Mm.
I'm,
Um,
I'm excited
graduate,
though.
graduate of the SD Met.
That's true. Graduate of the San Diego Met. Yeah. 619 in my
Um,
blood till I die. So,
interesting that, um, I mean, you're in the big picture family, but you
yes.
formally are from a big picture school, which you have in
Yes.
common with today's guest,
Yes.
who is a former principal at the Met
At
School in
Met, right? In
Providence.
Providence, right? Yeah.
And
He did
another
some.
theme, another theme of today's show, especially since our backdrop is like cups of coffee,
Hmm.
we're going to be talking about coffee today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be
Okay.
really intriguing how that works out.
I'm excited then.
Okay, are you ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, so I'm very pleased to welcome Alin Bennett from Education Reimagined.
Yes.
Alin,
Welcome.
welcome to the Cup
Welcome.
of Joy Cafe.
Hey, what's up, fam? Thank you so much for having me on. As you all mentioned, I'm big picture, sort of born and raised professionally, and anytime I'm at any event, big picture is just like feeling like coming home. So I'm so excited to step in the work and be on the show.
Thank you for joining us. And Alin, you were actually one of the very first, if not the first, big picture principal that I ever met, because I had an
Wow.
interview with Carlos and Andrew at the Met
Mhm.
when they were deciding whether to join the Big Sur band. And I think I met
In
you,
my,
on
in my
that day.
building, in
Yes,
our
right.
building, in the Unity building. Absolutely,
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that.
Anyway, so I've sort of teed up that we're going to talk a little bit about coffee. We're going
Okay.
to talk a little bit about bicycles,
Hmm.
and we're going to talk a little bit about school. But before we do that, Alin, you're not at the Met now. You're at Education Reimagined. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Education Reimagined is a catalytic organization, and we're really centered on the creation of a just and inclusive world where every child is known and they're loved and they're cared for. And specifically, our work is in transforming the education system from our current standardized one size fits all education system to a learner centered one that is like fully designed to unleash the full potential of our young people, and that the community becomes the playground of learning. And we do that in sort of a few buckets of work. We do that by building the field and making it something that's very distinct from the conventional model of education, that we're up to something fundamentally different. And then we support the advancement of high quality practice in models that are learner centered. And we really believe that learner centered is a paradigm and that it can live in many different models, like Big Picture is an advanced model of learner centered, Montessori, Acton, Reggio, and that it is a mindset more than a set of prescriptive practices or models. And so we partner with organizations like Big Picture and other organizations to help build and catalyze the field, and to support people who want to invent all entirely new inventions of education. And recently, we are really exploring what a dispersed ecosystem model of learning may look like
Hmm.
out in the world. And so that is sort of our newest ground that is exciting and gets our palm sweaty and excited to do
Very
the
cool.
work.
Very cool. Um, I have some sense of what we're going to talk about today, mainly because I was following you on social media last week. One, because the work was interesting, but also because I'm from Aurora. So when you were starting to post that
Oh,
you were in Aurora, I was, that makes me excited. So I want to talk to you about Embark, and Carla doesn't know a lot about Embark, so I'm actually
Hmm.
very curious about what types of questions like it raises for Carla.
Okay.
So let's make the connection, Alin. Why did I tee up this combination of like coffee, bicycles, and school? Can you talk about Embark?
Yes, absolutely. So Embark is a independent micro middle school that is centered in North Denver, Colorado. And it's sort of just a quick origin story. It started off as a pinwheel coffee shop first.
Mm.
And before Embark was a school, its partner nonprofit, which is called Great Work Inc., was developing an adolescent Montessori teacher training program. And so Maria Montessori always had her vision for adolescence was on a farm, was the farm school framework. And what Great Work was really trying to dive into, like, can we put that into an urban setting? Can we take Montessori's framework for farm school and make it into an urban setting? And so this is where it was the Pinwheel Coffee then became Embark Education. And so they added a second business. So Pinwheel Coffee is the coffee shop, and then Framework Cycles is the bike shop. And how the learners engaged directly with these two businesses. They are supporting the functions of these two shops. And all of their learning is centered around authentic need and projects that further that business in that business model. And so it is really powerful to see. It's actually, they own 4 or 5 buildings on that same block where their coffee shop is. And like the kids own that block. It was so dope to see like 11 through 14-year-olds just like running, 2 blocks of a major city. There's like sort of going across different businesses, engaging with adults and each other and the community, carrying their Chromebooks around all over the place, and like sitting outside of a coffee shop like a college kid, like doing their work was, and it's all centered around a need that the business, either the bicycle shop or the coffee shop has. And then so they build a project around there. And so it really drives engagement by making it a real authentic, real project that can make or break the business.
That's so cool.
And they, some other things, so it's embedded into those 2 businesses, and then their projects are all integrated, very much like Big Picture Learning's framework around project-based learning, where everything, all of their content is integrated into these projects. And the third pillar is that they're learner-centered, and that every single child is known as a full human being, and not sort of a passive vessel to be filled, and where they can bring their full authentic self to the space and not leave anything at the door when they come into Embark. And that was particularly clear when we did this ILX visit at Embark, because we've all engaged with middle schoolers. That's an interesting age group to engage with, and they're trying to find themselves, and they're often hesitant to be their full selves out, and especially in school settings. Not here. These 32 learners were just them. It was like 32 humans with completely different lived experiences and personalities showing up into that space. So it was so powerful.
Wow.
I have a question. It sounds so interesting. Okay. So, I'm thinking Reimagined. There's so many different ways that we can reimagine what schools look like. I have a question for you. Is there a space, and have you seen a space where young people are part of that process when reimagining what school can look like for them?
Yes, we help facilitate one. It's called Sparkhouse, and we do it. It took a virtual pause, and we did it virtually for the past 2 years. But before that, we would do it twice a year, and so we would bring people bring Big Picture folks. We had someone from San Diego Met actually just recently helped co-facilitate the last one. And so we bring people from the Met, from an Acton Academy, from a Montessori school, from Iowa Big. And they just come together over a 2-day period to help them identify that they are experiencing something very different than what most kids in this country are experiencing, and how special that is. And then in sharing that, and then finding their own leadership and advocacy to make this push even further, because they are going to be the most powerful advocates for this, are the kids. And so we try to support them in developing that leadership and that advocacy.
Nice. Thank you.
And Carla, one of our frequent guests and a friend of ours, Nasim Hamid, I think when he was still at Fannie Lou, attended one of those Sparkhouse events. I think a number of students from Camden have been as well.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you going to do them again in person now?
Yes, our next one, I'm going to actually just look at my calendar quick. We haven't publicly announced it officially, but it is calendared. And
Exclusive here?
It's sort of exclusive here. I think so. You got a sound bite that's exclusive.
Oh.
Yes, it is the 15th through the 17th of November. Very strong tentatively.
Awesome. That's
Nice.
Sparkhouse. I never attended, but like talking to some of the young people who have been, just seeing the real time social media. It's a very powerful event. I forgot the question I wanted to ask. Oh, Alin, I wanted to ask you because like I know that was your first ILX in 3 years. There has to be something dramatically different writing about schools in theory and being inside a school and seeing it operate. Like, is there something about as we continue to try to emerge from the pandemic? I hesitate to say it's over. It's not. But like being back in schools and seeing the learning happen, can you talk about the sort of power in that?
Yeah, in particular, this is a very personal sort of reflection about this. That was sort of a gap in my understanding what learner-centered could look like was in this middle grades. I had very not clear understanding, but a clearer understanding in secondary and in primary of what that looks like. But I haven't really engaged in person with a powerful middle grade site. So being able to spend 3 days just fully immersed with the adults, with the learners, with the families of that space, just completely expanded my domain of what I think is possible for the kids in middle grades. And so just to acknowledge that was before, after the pandemic, it was just flooring for me to be in that space with that age group and just to see what is possible for them. And I am sensing and so like you mentioned, I was in Aurora and in Denver and in other small towns. So we actually were able to view 4 to 6 sites while we were there. We didn't do the immersive learning like we did at Embark, but I just saw a more consistent hunger for something different from people who aren't just in education either. Like those business owners from the coffee shop and the bike shop who aren't in this discussion every day. They're also seeing something different. Like my kids, one of the parents shared just was like, my kid's a senior in the school and they want him to spend his last hour and a half on a Friday in study hall. And it's like, what? You just had me alone for 2 years straight. Why am I going to go sit in a cafeteria for 90 minutes? Right. And so it was really, I am seeing the urgency spread outside of the field itself and into the wider public. And so that was the first thing, being out in the world right now instead of like being behind my Zoom screen, that really occurred to me.
That's why we try to vary things up with the StreamYard instead of Zoom.
Yes, thank you.
It's the little things, like
it's my first StreamYard, so I'm loving it.
Well, one of the things we try to do on the show is to keep it short, keep it consumable, right? So, Alin, really appreciate your time, and it only makes me. I'd want to reach out to the folks at Embark, but the next time I go to visit my family in Aurora, I feel like I have to at least stop by Pinwheel, get some coffee, maybe see the learning happening at Embark.
Coffee, like that's not an afterthought. They make a delicious cup of coffee.
That's all I need. That's all I need. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Alin. Really appreciate your time.
No, thank you, and really appreciate the opportunity to come and share with the Big Picture family.
For sure.
Good one.
Wow.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Carla, our guest next week, Sam Seidel, I recently saw him at an event here in Connecticut, and he talked about the power of visiting schools. And just to hear him and Alin say it out loud makes me really sort of want to, like, as Alin said, like get out from behind my computer and like go back into the world and like see many schools.
Yes. Let's go on our Cup of Joy tour.
Maybe this is a challenge to up our viewership. If you watch the Cup of Joy, and whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, and you would like Cup of Joy to come to your school, drop it in the comments, and you'll be on the short list.
I love that.
Priority visit.
But I'm trying to go to Colorado, so maybe we stop there first.
All right.
I'm excited. Let's make it happen.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode. It was great to be joined by Alin. Great to be joined by you, Carla. Great to be joined by our viewership. There's some folks tuning in live. Really appreciate seeing folks here today.
Ooh, okay. Exciting. I forget I can't
Yeah.
see it because I'm not logged in, but can I close it off?
Do it.
Yes. Okay. So I hope you make it a great day or not, folks. The choice is yours, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.